today's episode, you will see what happens when pain becomes a masterpiece. Hey, this is Steph, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast. A podcast helping 2S LGBTQI plus people embrace self-love and self-respect so you can celebrate yourself with pride. Season 3. By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with the courage to embrace your true self, even when others don't understand you, the strength to transform your struggles into creative power, and that your light can guide others, even in the darkest of times. Today's conversation is about the art of resilience with MaQuade Angel, a non-binary, gender non-conforming artist. Hello again, I'm Steph Fachon, and I'm a human being. Welcome back to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Embrace your 2S LGBTQIA plus identity with pride through self-love. If you ever struggled to fully love and respect yourself, you're not alone, and this podcast is here to help. As someone who has navigated my own journey of self-acceptance as a queer, I know the power of hearing voices that reflect our own experiences. In this podcast, you'll hear real stories and conversations that leave you with practical tools, fresh perspectives, and the confidence to embrace who you are with pride. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, a specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I won't tell anyone what to do or how to do things. Instead, I will share my own journey, and we will all share our journeys together. We'll learn from each other how to move forward. Today, I'm so grateful to welcome MaQuade Angel, a non-binary, gender non-conforming artist whose lineage reaches back 13 generations in Louisiana with deep African roots and two-spirit ancestry. Through their art, Angel turns survival into poetry, transforming pain, identity, and love into something luminous. This is going to be a great conversation. So, Angel, thank you so much for being with us today, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Your lineage goes back 13 generations in Louisiana with deep African roots and two-spirit ancestry. How does this connection to your ancestors shape the way you see yourself and the art you create today?
Wow. How my ancestry or my generations of being from Louisiana shapes me, I guess it just gives me this cultural presence and this sense of belonging somewhere. Because a lot of times, being of African ancestry, a lot of us are displaced or we don't know where our ancestors come from. And I'm blessed to at least know that my family has been here for 300 or so years. So that gives me pride, and that also helps me shape how I would like to share my version of my culture with everyone, because Creole comes in different forms. There's European mixed with Spanish, mixed with African, but my ancestry is mainly African and there's a little bit of Spanish.
Okay.
So it kind of gives me a unique concept of, being able to show the darker version of the natives here that were probably forgotten or, just written off, or, due to the one drop rule, a lot of us had to, be pushed into different categories. So this gives me the opportunity to not only bring visibility to a lost culture, but also it's a lot of creativity. It's a lot of creative things that we didn't get to see, with cultures that were, I guess, written off. So I like to find little niches, especially from Louisiana, in order to like share it with people. For instance, like sometimes I would take Mardi Gras essence of things and I would like to put it in my visual art and stuff, because sometimes I like to take visual photos and share like a visual story. And sometimes I just like the audience to just witness it. I really don't have nothing for them to interpretate, because I'm just wanting them to see the beauty and the I don't know, I guess culture behind everything I'm trying to do. If that makes
Mhm. Oh, totally. Of course, it makes sense.
But, my mom actually reminded me a lot of our culture, and then my grandmother, she does too. So with their help, it kind of empowers me and it gives me tidbits of history and information. And I still do my own research. Sometimes I go to the archives. I still haven't went to where my great grandfather's from, which is Washington Parish, Louisiana. I want to dig more into his background to learn more about him because he passed away 3 years into my mother being born. So we really didn't get to know much about him. So that's something I'm still exploring, but I have fun with learning our history.
For sure. You've said people often tell you that you don't look like what you've been through. What do you want listeners to understand about resilience and survival behind appearances?
Basically, just like a lot of our favorite celebrities or idols that we idolize, a lot of times just because we see them on stage or them all done up in their makeup and stuff, we think that they don't have problems at home or they're not going through personal issues or they're not feeling down or having lost a family member. So sometimes, a lot of times, I've been through a whole lot in this life, and people have always just seen it as, oh, you'll get over it because you've always gotten over it, or oh, you'll make it because you've always made it. But sometimes being strong is really hard,
Mhm.
especially when, that's all you're used to being. So a lot of times people see that sometimes when I get dressed up, get dolled up or stuff, they think that, oh, this person may not have nothing going on in their life or they have no issues or they can't relate to the problems that we have going on right now. And I'm like, no, that's totally different. This is my armor and this is my art and my protest to show the world that I do know what's going on. I am in the loop and I am actively against a lot of the hate that's being pushed out in the world. And sometimes you have to show that in different forms. Sometimes you have to rebel. So that's how I show up. And a lot of times people, they see that armor, they see that strength, and they don't see the kitten behind it or the soft person behind it.
Do you feel like even sometimes people won't have empathy for you, or if one day you're not feeling good about, you're struggling about something, and then people will be like, what's wrong with you? Just like, get over it because usually
Yeah.
you look so strong. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's like you have to put on a brave face, like Rihanna said, you can cry. Of course you can cry, but the only thing that's going to get you is a wet face. You still have to take care of it at the end of the day. You still have to show up. So a lot of times I do take my cries in the shower or in the dark, and then I show up ready because I had to cleanse my soul in order to get ready to do what has to be done next.
but you're allowed and we're allowed to have down days too, and it's just normal, even to
It is.
show it. Yeah.
And I wish the world normalized that a little bit more, seeing especially male presenting show more emotion or just be able to explore the emotional arc without being judged or put into a box for it. Everyone is allowed emotions. Everyone deserves to be cared for. Everyone deserves to be hugged. Everyone deserves to be checked on, not just our feminine counterparts, but also our masculine counterparts as well.
Of course. For you, self love is about showing up even when no one is clapping. Can you share a moment in your life when that definition of self love carried you through?
Oh God, I can share so many moments. To have to show up for myself is what you have to do most, especially just, I was raised by a single mom. So a lot of times she was working and maybe my wrestling matches or my track meets, she wasn't there. When I would look to the stands, I would always wish that there was someone rooting for me, but I would have to just say that she's rooting for me in spirit because she's making sure that I was fed today. I was able to get here today. So she put that spirit in me so I can take that and I can move forward. And I'll tell you the very first time where that self-love had to kick in because I was running the 1x10 hurdles. And I think I was in my sophomore year of high school. And I was so nervous when we started. I was so nervous because nobody there and stuff. So I started to prep myself and, get lined up in the little shots. And the moment the gun went off, I just took off running. And the first hurdle, I made it over. I cleared it because I guess I jumped like super high over it. But the second hurdle, I guess I was tired. So I ran straight into it and flipped and tumbled. And I was like, okay, I can either stay down because there's people laughing at me, or I can get up and keep going. And I was like, get up, get up, get up. So I got myself up. And yes, I think I came in like fourth or fifth, but I got up and I kept kicking over the hurdles. I kept jumping and I kept going because I'm like, this is for you. You got to prove yourself. You wanted to do this. You wanted to be here. So it's not going to be easy. But
Mm.
if you want it, just pursue it. And that moment has taken me through everything in my life, because being in my first movie, I was so nervous. I didn't think anyone would see it. I didn't think anyone would care. I didn't think anything about it. I was actually beating myself up, because sometimes we can be our own saboteur. And I would just beat myself up. But then I had a talk with myself in the mirror right before I went on set. And I was like, this is a dream that you've always wanted. And it was maybe a little tear, but I was like, so whatever you have to do, you have to put how you're feeling, your insecurities to the side, because right now I need you to show up. And that's kind of how my two-spiritness, I won't say activates, but that's kind of how it became. Because at first I felt like I needed a protector for MaQuade. I needed something to be there because I had no one. In, like, I would say a dark night of the soul, my personality probably, I won't say split, it just, something else probably came to the surface. Around 16 is when I named myself Angel. And from then on, that feeling, that presence has not only guided me, but shaped me and protected me and got me through a lot of things that I don't think MaQuade would have gotten through. And it seems very arbitrary to speak of yourself in two different forms, but I'm trying to explain it in a way to where I feel like my soul may be the embodiment of feminine attributes, however I can explain that. And it shows up in ways of guidance, of nurturing, of kindness, just all the things that my physical form doesn't really show up as. And so that's how put a meaning to my two-spiritness. And that's kind of what gives me the resilience to overcome a lot of things. It's kind of like when drag queens say they put on their drag and it's armor, but for me, it's nothing I have to put on. It's just like me talking to myself. Like, even in this moment, I can be Angel or MaQuade. It has nothing to do with hair, makeup, or anything like that. It's just how I feel, if that comes off.
It's
Yeah.
just who you are.
Yeah. And it's who I've always been. And sometimes, it takes, especially in the LGBTQIA plus 2 community, it takes time to understand your way in this life, because it does not come with a manual. And then also you have so much of the noise from other people telling you that, this is not the religious way to go, or, you should be safe because we come from an AIDS epidemic before our generation came up. So it's a lot of stuff that they use, like fear mongering, to hold down the community. And a lot of times we don't know how to fully identify or find that identity. I'm blessed that I was able to be resilient enough to shut out all that noise, tell everybody no, and just follow my own path. And that's kind of something I would want the world to take, is to just shut out all the noise. Just don't listen to anyone else, and don't listen to any of the negative noise. If someone's giving you positive critiques, if they're giving you love, then yes, listen to that and take that and run with it. But if they're giving you negativity, just push it away and make your life how you see fit, what makes you happy.
What I would say, what I would add to that is I think it's great to see what's out there so that we can, growing up or healing, to see what's out there and how we can identify ourselves. But then I think it comes to a time where we have to, like you said, shut everything off, look inside ourselves and say, okay, who am I? Who do I want to be? And that's it.
Yeah. Like a sweet treat or like a dessert. You never know what your favorite dessert is until you try different ones, and it's like, oh, I thought I liked vanilla cream, but no, I like butterscotch.
Yeah. And to accept that and to welcome that.
Hmm.
Community has been both uplifting and challenging for you, sometimes even boxing you in. What lessons have you learned about finding your place in community while staying true to yourself?
I definitely learned that speaking up is important, especially when a lot of times, and this is for my non-binary brothers and sisters and my transitioning brothers and sisters, because a lot of times we don't often look like our final stage or where we want to present ourselves. And so people will judge us at that stage, like, oh, this is you, or they'll put labels or stipulations on you because of your physical attributes. And it's like, oh, you're a big burly man, so you should act like a big burly man. It's like, that's that's just physically what you see, but that's not who I am. And I appreciate you for saying that, the compliment inside of that, but that's not who I am. I would just say, I think Sometimes when people show up, I wanted to give an example of something I dealt with a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't want to put anyone in the wrong position or say anything negative about them.
Mm.
But I was auditioning for a play and they were looking for trans females or whatever. And a lot of times my drag comes off as like I'm a trans female, but I never wanted to come off as I was impersonating another gender or anyone else in order to get forward in the industry. So I always wanted to make sure that they knew that I was non-binary. And even though one or another way presented a strong way, that's not who I am. And I don't want to take work or food from someone else. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? And then we've already had other people playing characters in movies and television that weren't actually their history or their ancestry. They had no connection to that character or anything. So for me, sometimes just the physical labeling is what can hinder a lot of us from meeting the person we're actually meant to meet.
Why do you think society or people want to put us so much in that physical container? Like, what is it? What do you think that is?
It's easier and it's comfortable. People love comfortability and no one really likes to change. Sometimes change is very hard for people, I notice. And even for myself, I do yoga, but sometimes it's hard for me to change routines. And I notice I'm like, if it's so hard for me to do this one different move, I imagine that it's super hard for someone just to change their mind in just little concept. And so I'm trying to find a way to bridge that gap between myself learning and then also trying to, share that knowledge with someone else because it's very easy. It's just we choose to be comfortable because that's either all we know or on the other side of comfortability could be fear. And a lot of people are very scared of fear. LGBTQIA plus community, we sometimes represent fear because we represent freedom, we represent change, we represent rebellion, we represent all the things that we were told not to be growing up. And so a lot of people just they can't mesh with that. And I understand, I can say I understand and I get it, but also the world wouldn't be as advanced in medicine or as in gender or as in laws if we didn't somehow, some way start with a little bit of change.
Exactly. I was.
So change, it matters. It's so important to just put a toe in. You don't have to dive in. You don't have to go for a deep swim. Just put a toe in and see how it feels.
And it's our responsibility to do that ourselves before we judge everybody else that is not understanding what we want to change, right?
Absolutely. I believe that on yourself, you should be the harshest critic, and on everyone else, you should be a little bit lighter, a little bit more leniency because not everyone was raised the same way you were raised. So not everybody has the same values you have, and not everybody grew up learning the same things. Even COVID, a lot of children had to go online schooling. So there's going to be a big gap in what we know and how we communicate. And we're going to have to fill that gap in, maybe in future generations, just because there's something we all miss, some type of physical connection or something we just missed because we had to deal with something so tragic.
Yeah. When adversity hits, you turn to the ocean, roller skating, and your animals. What role do these practices of joy and creativity play in keeping your hope alive?
First, my animals, they keep my hope alive every single day just because all they want for me is food and love. And all they just give so much love. Like I have three dogs. I have a black mouth cur. She's 10 years old. I have a Rhodesian Ridgeback. He's 9 years old. He'll be 10 in December, and he's blind. He's been blind since he was 7 months old. He caught an ear infection that got to his eye that we didn't catch in time, and then got to his other eye. So he's been blind since he was like 7 months old. But funny thing about him is he knows all his commands. He knows all his smells. We walked him on his leash so he knows the area, but then we let him free roam just so he can, test the area and get comfortable. So they're my joy. And then we rescued a Maltipoo 6 months ago. Her family, I guess, didn't want her. They abandoned her and she was in terrible condition, but we rescued her 6 months ago. I think six. And now she's our baby though. She's 2 years old and she's just a ball of joy. And she runs with me when I go skating and stuff. Like she's literally, I have some pictures of her, the videos, but she's just dashing down my side, or she's always just up and coming, because my other ones, they're a little bit older. So they spent some years with me, but now they're tired. They just want to rest. So it's fun to have another one that's just ready to run. And they bring me so much joy. I don't know why I love them. I play with them. They're like the kids I never wanted, but now I have them. And During the pandemic, we rescued, me and my partner rescued 27 animals. It wasn't on purpose, it was on accident. We were living in an apartment in Georgia, in a one-bedroom apartment. And for some reason, people thought we were the animal person or someone to give your animals to. Because at the time, I rescued a Julian micro pig. So he was black and his name was Drogo because he was more fire than a dragon. He reminded me of Game of Thrones. But in that process, people dropped off, I know, two orthopedic chicks, a koa duck, four turtles. One was a box turtle. The other one was illegal, but it was an Eastern painted turtle. And then we had two red ear sliders, two rabbits, three cats. Then we had my blind dog. I didn't know that he was sexually active, or I didn't think he knew anything about it. So someone left a all white pit bull on our doorstep. And so when we got her, all because she had fleas and like pink marks on her. So when we got her, brought her in the house, we cleaned her up and washed her really good. I think when we went to Walmart the following day, we came back and he was stuck inside of her. I was like, oh my God, no, no babies. But we didn't catch them in time. So she had 12 babies.
No.
And so we nurtured and loved them, took care of them, and got them all to their new family home. And I have videos from the whole process of her pushing them out. They had like this little seal on them. It gets very graphic. It was just something I wasn't prepared for, but we survived it or whatever. But it was really fun to do that, and it gave me like a veterinarian spirit. So I feel like I can doctor on all the animals across the world, me and my partner. So that they're the epitome of my joy. And then the reason why I moved to California, the reason why I came here is because I always wanted to live near the ocean. My family from Louisiana, but I was originally raised in Texas. So the ocean was very far. So to come here, to live in California, to live in Long Beach and to be steps away from the ocean has always been my dream, my happy place. So when I'm writing, when I'm listening to music, or just when I'm having like a stressful day, I go straight to the water because it's just the sound of it's beautiful. The water feels great, and then you just the mystery of what's out there. It makes me feel so tiny because the ocean is so big. And I'm like, there has to be so much more to us, the universe, everything. Because look at me. If I walk in the ocean, I'll disappear. You'll never know that I was even here because it's so vast, so huge. So that mystery keeps my hope alive because I'm like, there's something here. There's something. There must be aliens. There must be mermaids. There must be something out there because it can't just be, just even if it is, that's fine. For me, that mystery keeps my hope alive. And then skating, it keeps me fit. I love to fly. I love to feel the wind in my hair or on my face or when I don't have hair. That although that trifecta of things just makes my day, makes my week, make my month because like I don't know. There can be dark days and stuff like that, but when I come home or when I find my children, is what I call them, or when me and my partner go out and go skating, all of that just blows away. Because bad times are going to happen, bad things are going to happen, and sometimes you can avoid them. So what you can do is adjust the sail and prepare for the storm and hope you make it out on the other side. So that's.
What you say is so important. We have to find something every day that we like to do that makes us happy. I think that's the way of living and going.
And and that's so true because I've broken into so many creative hobbies just in the last 6 months. I've really just been laying into my hobbies. That also adds to my little trifecta of happiness. Well, now make it square, but that
So
adds
important. Yeah. You've described yourself as a night creature who sings other back to the light. What does that image mean to you? And how do you bring light to those who may still be in their darkness?
So the night creature comment came from I don't know if people or will watch the show on Netflix, but it's called Castlevania. It's an animated series and stuff like that, but it's about vampire hunters and it's very cool. But the thing about it is the good people or the people in the village, they get turned into these creatures in a machine or something like that. And some of the creatures come out bad, but some of them come out aware and with consciousness of their previous life or what they were doing before they were thrown into this machine. And one of them was a Dominican opera singer. And all he would do was sing and make people feel good and happy. And he felt like that was his purpose to bring joy to people. And in a tragic event, he was unalived and then put into that chamber and became a night creature, but he still remembered his life previously and he kept singing. And that song somehow woke up the minds of the other creatures and it kind of helped them fight for good. So, my reference to that is a lot of times that I see people, I recognize darkness. I'm a Scorpio. I recognize darkness. I recognize when people are in very down, horrible places. Like I just somehow I can feel it. I don't know if it's the empathy in me or anything, but I'm drawn to people when they're feeling their worst. And a lot of times I feel like maybe that's my ability, that's my calling, because a lot of times I try to leave people better than I found them. But I always try to, if talking doesn't work, then I'll hold space or I'll hug them or I'll try to hold them or whatever. But I feel like everybody needs more light and a friend in their life. And no matter what, a friend should come without judgment, without stipulations, without, just without telling you this is how you should act. Because, you know, I come from trauma or a family of trauma. So when my sisters or my mother get upset, we kind of yell at each other. So I'm used to hearing all the fire and the ferocity and the anger behind the hurt. So instead of attacking that person, I know how to just pull them in and hold them and be like, hey, I understand what you're going through. And if you want to hit on me or if you want to squeeze me tight in order to get that pain out, I'm here for you. I'll hold that space for you because I wish so many times when I was younger, I had someone to hold that space for me. My mom always told me that you should be the change you want to see in the world, or you should do things that you would like someone to do to you. So, and I've always lived by that motto. Like I'm no matter how painful it's gonna be, I'm gonna still enact that change. I'm gonna try. We're gonna cry through it. We're gonna fight through it, but I'm not giving up. A lot of times, I even be as vulnerable as I can be, even in my relationship. Me and my partner have been together 10 years. A lot of times I would have to reevaluate my own ego and sit back and just listen because it's like, I'm not perfect. I can't offer every single thing. I can't meet every need, and vice versa. So a lot of times when it comes to others, it's like I may not have healed everything or I may not have helped with everything, but hopefully I've gave it a little jab forward. So then when you go to the next person or you go to your next stage, that healing is a little bit easier. So I feel like that's how I sing my song into others. I try to hold space. I listen. I just try to be there as much as I can. As long as I'm here, as long as I got breath in me, I'll try to be there for each and every one of my friends. Sometimes it spreads me thin, but it's still a joy for me because I'm helping those that I know that will, or that I hope will, it will change their future. And even if it doesn't change their future, maybe it changes somebody else's future.
Yeah, well said. You live by the mantra, the circle on the floor is just chalks without understanding. Can you share what this quote means in your own life and how it guides your journey?
So I've always been obsessed with magicians and esoteric and just magic and stuff like that. So that not only is it esoteric in its meaning, but also it means it covers a wide variety of things because I'll say it from my art, theater, or makeup. Without understanding the basic concept of something, you won't be able to produce the result you want to produce. Like when it comes to my eyeshadow or I doing eyeshadow, I had to learn the basic smoky eye before I can even learn how to do the cut crease and the lining and the concept and all that. Like it took me having to be a beginner and living in that beginning stage before I even got to my advanced or master stage because I'm nowhere near a master. There's people who can do great things with makeup that I can't even imagine to do yet. And I dream to be on that level, but I'm not there just yet. I'm fine with the level I'm at because I'm having fun in the process of learning, growing, making mistakes, drawing different things and stuff because it matters when it's presented, but it doesn't matter when you're playing with it. So when you're practicing and when you're alone or even when you're practicing with a group, have fun, fall into it, fall into the mistakes and stuff. Just know that when it's ready for showtime or when it's ready to actually put that into work, that the mistakes should be minimal or none if all, because we've hashed it out during practice or we smudged our makeup and made mistakes. And some things are unavoidable. So just like in performances or anything, some things is unavoidable, live television or whatever. So you have to just learn how to roll with the punches. And if you practice ahead of time or if you work through your kinks or your mistakes, then you can get to where you want to be. So that saying is just, it means to practice and to try to get a deeper understanding of what you're doing. Like there's always some type of depth you can get from something, and there's always a different perspective you can see from. Even if it's not your own, even if you feel like you're limited from seeing from your perspective, take yourself out of your body and put yourself in someone else's body, or just ask them. Ask them, say, hey, I need some advice. This is like, if it's a script, or if it's something you're working on, or if it's a music video, or a poem, or even if it's just something creative you're working on, just say, hey, this is my baby. I feel very sensitive about this, but I would really like your critique. But I don't know how I respond to that critique. But I really would like it, just so I can push myself in a level of growth and development. And that right there, that'll help you get a lot further than just not getting no critique, or just saying, okay, well, I'm just fine with this way. So if you want to grow, I say you practice and start with drawing the circle on the floor until it's perfect.
And I think what's really important is to accept where you are right now in this moment. For me, it's really hard to accept where I am sometimes because I want it to be perfect right away. So I'm really learning to go slow and go one step at a time, which is much easier and a lot more enjoyable than being all stressed out and, oh my God, this is not where I want it to be right now. So that's really good advice. That's good.
Yeah, because we all don't know where the final product is going to end up, and we don't know what the universe, the creator, God, whatever has for us in store. So, we can only see what's sometimes only in front of us. Like we can only see the door, but we can't see what's really going on outside the door unless we open it or look outside,
And it's important to enjoy it right now at this moment, because sometimes the final destination is not even where you think you're going to be. So it's better to just enjoy it now.
Yep.
So, Angel, thank you so much. It was great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
That was great having you.
Well, this is very much needed. I appreciate you just even taking up the mantle and doing this for the community, for us. Like, I really appreciate this. Like, sometimes you don't really get to see much people fighting or showing resistance in this time, but this is what we need. Like, I really appreciate this.
We are all in the same community. I've always been thinking like this, and like you say, for our community, but it's helping me first of all. Like so much. Since I've started this podcast, it's crazy how much I'm growing with this too, and it's helping me so much. So this is what I understand now also, that doing something for our community is helping me so much too. So it all works out perfectly, right?
Full circle.
Yeah.
Others help ourselves.
Great. And I love that you love animals. I love animals too.
I can't wait to see a moose in person. Are they as big as people say they are?
Huge.
Oh my God. I want to see one in person. I have got so close, maybe to almost to Washington, but have not seen one in person. So they're bigger than SUVs. So.
Oh, they're huge. Yeah. You don't want to hit one. You don't want to be hit by one. No. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's love it. I had to hide my dog because when she sees people walking in the garden or something, she goes crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you.
Oh, no problem.
And maybe one day I'd keep in touch. Bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye. Thank you so much, Angel. This conversation teaches us that resilience is not about pretending that everything is okay. It's about honoring the truth, creating from your heart, and letting your story shine with pride. Just like MaQuade Angel, the world needs your story. It has the power to change lives, and your voice matters. I'm always looking for inspiring guests to the podcast, and I'd love to have you, or someone you know, share your journey with pride. Please reach out and send me an email today. It is already time to say au revoir, just for now. So please join me next Wednesday for another episode of the Together Moving Forward podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode about how to love and respect yourself. And if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend or someone you know in our 2S LGBTQIA+ community so you can help them embrace self-love. It might seem like a small gesture, but it truly makes a huge difference. Wherever you are from in the world, we are all connected. And remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. One last thing before I go. Put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. You and me together. I am a work in progress, and that's okay. Yes, I am a work in progress, and that's okay. Actually, it is more than okay. It is just so perfect. From shame, guilt, silence, and rejection to pride, freedom, healing, and love. Together moving forward. Thank you so much for being here with me today and walking this journey of growth and love together. Your presence truly means a lot to me. See you next week. Ciao. Subscribe now and share to uplift, empower, and make a real difference in our community.